On September 4th, 2020, a young mother of two, Mariah Charday Wilson, was murdered in her home at the corner of 17th Street and LaSalle in Niagara Falls. Police investigations have turned up nothing on the suspect or suspects, and members of Mariah's family began to be frustrated with their perceived lack of progress by the police. On October 9th, two representatives from Yowowa Media, my company, including myself, met with a young woman named Julia Stevens who was organizing a rally entitled Save Our City. She was hoping to draw attention to the situation and the status of the investigation. We met at Tim Hortons on Niagara Falls Boulevard along with another community activist, Jill Shaw. Yowowa Media had only a few weeks before produced a telethon type of show to aid in a gun buyback program that Ms. Shaw was spearheading, and we hosted it at the Peacemakers headquarters in Niagara Falls. Our conversation was pleasant and professional. Ms. Stevens worked with the local organization Community Missions of Niagara Frontier, which led to our interest as we have supported them in other situations. This was not a community missions event, but it allowed us some comfort with the individual who was asking for help. We agreed to provide a live podcast on our platform from the scene so that others could tune in, and a public address system so that speakers speaking at the event could be heard. On October 18th, we showed up at the location and we were greeted by Ms. Stevens and a few of the organizers. We completed our setup on the porch of the victim's home where the protest was being held and awaited the start. We were appalled at the condition of the rental house where the victim lived, in an apartment. A few minutes before the publicized start, a group of people, about 30 or so, began appearing. Some wearing black, what appeared to be pseudo-armor and walking around with notepads. We also noticed that they all wore elements of green fluorescent material, like hats or other items that allowed easy identification. This was our first time encountering the Buffalo protesters who had been active in the city of Buffalo throughout the previous summer. As these people mulled about, outnumbering the gathering crowd by at least 2 to 1, we were told by Ms. Stevens that Brett turned up nothing on the suspect or suspects, and members of Mariah's family began to be frustrated with their perceived lack of progress. On September 4th, 2020, a young mother of two, Mariah Charday Wilson, was murdered in her home at the corner of 17th Street and LaSalle in Niagara Falls. Police investigations have turned up nothing on the suspect or suspects, and members of Mariah's family began to be frustrated with their perceived lack of progress by the police. On October 9th, 2 representatives from Yowowa Media, my company, including myself, met with a young woman named Julia Stevens, who was organizing a rally entitled Save Our City. She was hoping to draw attention to the situation and the status of the investigation. We met at Tim Hortons on Niagara Falls Boulevard, along with another community activist, Jill Shaw. Yowowa Media had only a few weeks before produced a telethon type of show to aid in a gun buyback program that Ms. Shaw was spearheading, and we hosted it at the Peacemakers headquarters in Niagara Falls. Our conversation was pleasant and professional. Ms. Stevens worked with the local organization Community Missions of Niagara Frontier, which led to our interest as we have supported them in other situations. This was not a community missions event, but it allowed us some comfort with the individual who was asking for help. We agreed to provide a live podcast on our platform from the scene so that others could tune in, and a public address system so that speakers speaking at the event could be heard. On October 18th, we showed up at the location and we were greeted by Ms. Stevens and a few of the organizers. We completed our setup on the porch of the victim's home where the protest was being held and awaited the start. We were appalled at the condition of the rental house where the victim lived in an apartment. A few minutes before the publicized start, a group of people, about 30 or so, began appearing. Some wearing black, what appeared to be pseudo-armor, and walking around with notepads. We also noticed that they all wore elements of green fluorescent material, like hats or other items that allowed easy identification. This was our first time encountering the Buffalo protesters who had been active in the city of Buffalo throughout the previous summer. As these people mulled about, outnumbering the gathering crowd by at least 2 to 1, we were told by Ms. Stevens that Brett Byro, my associate and friend, was on a list of white supremacists. The list was assembled by someone in the group and that they didn't want him speaking. Now, this is false, and where that list came from, I have no idea. We were surprised by it, but we abided by the request and continued to video the event and provide the PA for speakers. And all of the footage you see here is from that day. Various speakers delivered addresses and messages, including County Legislator Owen Steed.
Too much friendship. Correction officer. What kind of steps or processes are in place to make sure funding is? We don't need more correction officers. Who are you in your job?
Many speakers and crowd voices, to us, spoke less about Niagara Falls and more about Buffalo. If you include their later presentations at City Hall, the name of Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown dominated the event.
I'm one of those people that's not in from Niagara Falls. I'm coming in from Buffalo. My name is Shema Akil.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Today is the same reason that we've been fighting in Buffalo, and it's for justice. I think, especially in Niagara Falls, I've heard too many stories about Niagara Falls, about Lockport, about all these areas that are outside of Buffalo that experience issues just the same or even worse than how we do in Buffalo. Right?
One member of the crowd spoke up about our local 911 service.
Why is it when you call into the police department, as one young lady said, they'll hang up on you? And you know who the lady is that answers usually, Monica Hamilton. She's very nasty on the phone, and it's like she's part of the blue wall.
As speakers concluded, the group began a march to City Hall. Our cameras followed their exit down along 17th Street. As speakers concluded, the group began their march to City Hall. We followed their exit along 17th Street with our camera. We could hear that their shouts began to ring out with "F the racist police" and "burn down our cities," sentiments that neither bring justice for Mariah Charday nor represent the attitude of our citizens. And the following video, it contains foul language like some of these do, and it contains a crowd chanting, "Burn this bitch down" and "F the police." Have a listen. We were disgusted. This crowd, littered with Buffalo area what we called Antifa wannabes, had hijacked the event to allow them to promote their own agenda. And Julia Stevens was fine with it.
Another thing that I want to bring up, when they started screaming that, I nudged Julia in the back and I said, can you get, because you're the organizer and you're standing with these people and you're saying the same thing. I asked her, would she get that under control? She turned around and she yelled at me and she said, why? Why should I get them under control? Fuck the police.
Whoa.
You want to know something? You want to know something? This was a mistake. I'm not walking with them. Peter, this was a mistake. I'm not walking with them. All that fuck the police and all that, I'm not walking with them.
Well, let's...
I'm pissed. When you unplug this shit, I'm out of here. Hey. I'm not walking with them.
No, you come back and talk. Bring Brent back. I want to talk. I agree with you.
Yeah, pretty much. As soon as we started walking, it was fuck the police. Fuck the police. Fuck the police. Burn this shit down. No, fuck y'all. I just cussed them out. Fuck them. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
No, say it. Let them know.
I don't care. I'm not a part of that shit they just pulled. All that justice and shit that they were over here talking, but you walk away screaming, burn this shit down and fuck the police. No, fuck y'all. But it was those people.
Ms. Shaw and another participant returned to where we were packing up our equipment. Our cameras were still rolling. Their anger was based on Julia Stevens accepting the commandeering of the protest by the people she brought in. I even vented my anger at the entire affair for not being what we had been told it
I
was.
got my people together, got these motherfucking cameras here, and this was supposed to be about this girl and the other victim, but that's not what it was about. This man got double teamed.
Disgusted that I came out today.
I am too.
I'm disgusted. But let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. The first thing I find out is that the woman with the shaved side of her head, green on top, carrying that little shield she made out of a weaving loom.
And the one with the long hair got in your thing in front of the police.
Gentlemen, this is a special edition of The Edge of the Falls. There has been a hijacking in Niagara Falls, so we're here to report to you. Bringing us live to this, coming live to this occasion, or whatever we're going to say, the Madman and our good friend Jill Shaw.
Welcome to the Edge of the Falls. You people have been chosen to reveal our existence to the world, and we're going to cut right to this show, right to the, the gist of the matter.
After the event, we returned to our studio and held an impromptu episode of our podcast, The Edge of the Falls, in order to voice our displeasure.
Another thing that I want to bring up, when they started screaming that, I nudged Julia in the back and I said, can you get, because you're the organizer, and you're standing with these people and you're saying the same thing. I asked her, would she get that under control? She turned around and she yelled at me and she said, why? Why should I get them under control? Fuck the police.
Whoa.
I'm really disappointed. I felt like I got bamboozled, hoodwinked to even show up and to bring my friends and then to have the list circulating when Julia knew for a fact that I had invited Brett. Brett has been a part of this with me from the beginning. He's a big supporter of my Gun Back Buy program. I'm going to end up crying. I'm really upset.
Oh, Jesus.
He's
Let it out.
been there with me from the beginning. This is not about white people. This is not about black people. So
I felt
once
betrayed.
the march started,
People around me
things
felt
were a
betrayed,
little
and you'll
shaky.
see this on The Edge of the Falls.
That's the perfect example of what I was getting at.
I can give you a perfect example why people are not trying to help Niagara Falls, because at this point I want to step down because I literally felt like I was hijacked today.
Yep.
Put on the spot. I'm ready to turn my GoFundMe over to somebody, and the cash that we collected, someone else can deal with it. At this point, I don't know if I have the energy because there's so much negativity with it.
I give it to
there's
Antifa Light.
I didn't know that the march was about white supremacists. I didn't know that the march was about fuck our police. I didn't know that the march was about defund our police. I didn't know any of that, or I wouldn't have been involved. First, I just want to read a message. This is from Julia. She says,
Hey, who is Julia? Let everyone know.
Julia was the organizer of the Save Our City March today.
Right.
And this message says, good
And
evening.
can you get your mic a little closer to you?
And real quick, like we were trying to support, what she was doing, right? Like we were.
Yeah.
Right. These people contacted us. We didn't contact them. This is the first message that I received to her on October 7th. It says, "Good evening. I hope this message finds you well. I am a member of Mariah Wilson's family, and I have heard so much about your community activism. Mariah was murdered September 4th in the front of her children, and I have been working to keep her story out here despite her case being one of many victims of unsolved murders in the city of Niagara Falls. I am writing you to ask you, would you be interested in speaking and assist in organizing a march called Save Our City, scheduled for Sunday, October 18th. The message behind this is to call action to demand justice as well as attention to the abundance of crimes occurring in our city. We all have ideas worth sharing, and when it comes to what we as a community should be doing to resolve these issues, and I hope you will consider sharing yours. I would look forward to hearing from you." I replied to her and I told her that I would be more than honored to help in any way. I said I also have a team of wonderful people that would be more than willing to help. She told me amazing.
What we've learned since then is that in addition to Brett Byro, my name, Peter Green, was on the list. Ms. Stevens had seen me on the list but didn't tell me. I just found this out recently, although she shared that Brett was on the list, but I'm told she didn't tell me because she didn't want to lose our assistance. Cariol Horne is a community activist, a former police officer, and the namesake for Buffalo's Cariol's Law. Cariol's Law is a duty to intervene law for Buffalo police officers. It requires Buffalo police officers to intercede when they believe unreasonable force is being used against a civilian by another police officer. It also protects an officer against retaliation. She exchanged Facebook messages with one of our group. "With the most respect, could you please respond to me and let me know if your organizers were a part of this protest yesterday? It was absolutely a circus. They walked up and down our streets screaming to defund our police, F our racist-ass police, and burn our cities down. It was very inappropriate." To which Ms. Horne replies, "No, I was not there, and I'm not sure who was involved." Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Yesterday made me want to quit defending my community because literally I was just so upset. We have a very peaceful protest, and our police are also involved in our protests. I understand that some cities have to put their police officers in check, but we're here. We have a great relationship with our police officers, and all we're trying to do is get the people to speak up on the crimes. And all you have to do is say when and where, and I will meet you. You do not know how much this means to me. You literally just gave my strength back because yesterday was drained from me. I met her Saturday, and that's likely referring to Julia Stevens, at the Women's March, and I told her that I may show up in support, but my daughter was in a car accident, so I stayed home. I never told her about security paramedic support. She said she was from Niagara Falls. To which our person responded, "The young lady lives in Lewiston, and all of the people she brought with her were from Buffalo. And now I'm just assuming that they're probably just people she has met while she's been at protests in Buffalo. But to put your name on it and say that your organizers were part of what happened today in Niagara Falls is not okay." "I also don't have any organizers," Ms. Horne responds. "I have a team that works with me on Cariol's Law, not protesting. Protesting is my thing, but I wasn't in Niagara Falls, and actually am grateful that I wasn't because they could have caused chaos and blamed it on me." The writer says, "I actually met with this young lady and had coffee with her, and she's the one that told us that you were involved." To which Cariol Horne responds, "She lied. Do you have her pic?" And then the conversation continues, as you can see. "Let them know I had nothing to do with that, but I will be happy to meet with you and your police department to come up with solutions. I have to meet up with my team to set it up." Another response is that it really isn't, and I'm not okay with it. And so the gist of this conversation is that Ms. Stevens used the name of Cariol Horne, according to this conversation, in justifying and explaining who had helped her put the protest together. But Ms. Horne uses the phrase, and you see it, that she lied. So I don't know what to say at that point. As you can see from this video, the disappointment was shared by many. Now, initially, I had wonderful exchanges with Ms. Stevens, as you'll see by these texts and the tone of the interaction. Later, after the event, when I voiced my displeasure, her tone and attitude became one of hostility. I felt duped. When I later learned that my name was on the same list, I was both shocked and outraged. I'm a lot of things, but nobody in my 61 years can call me a racist. Future correspondence with Julia Stevens led to accusations that we were lying. Future correspondence with Julia Stevens led to accusations that we were lying, yet our video evidence remains. She misrepresented her intentions and her actions at the march, which led to a negative experience for a great many people and a blemish on our police-citizen relationships that were so peaceful, as evidenced by the peaceful protests last summer. Fast forward to January 2021, and Julia Stevens emerges on Facebook with a scathing attack on a group called the New York Watchmen. So like I said, here we are in January of 2021, and we are in an ugly situation. Got a lot of people who are slinging words around the internet. What you just watched is an account of what caused Julia Jean, the protagonist, if you will, the antagonist of much of this. That's where we fell afoul, was back in October. We were angry with her for the outcome of that event, the way she responded to it. And instead of taking ownership, we're trying to just negotiate. She lashed back, calling first words, "Why are you lying?" Very first thing she wrote to me. And there are people who just do not believe that they can do wrong, or maybe they don't know how to make right. And that's something we have to do. And the internet's made it a lot worse, because our social media around here right now really sucks. I'm sorry. I'm a writer. I'm a musician and a writer. My strongest quality is writing, and that's mostly what I do. I'm not a video guy. My stuff's pretty simple. But as a writer, I spend a lot of time chronicling things, keeping accurate records of what goes on. This is ugly. And Julia Stevens, if you keep throwing these words, and others do, somewhere someone's going to drag us in front of an authority, like a court, and say, prove it, because these are dangerous words to be throwing around. Even if you have proof, act on it. Don't put it on social media. Okay, I'm a writer, as I said. I also do journalistic things that you have no idea about. But you'll comment on something because somebody posts something and then think that you've got the answer to it. You don't know all the answers. I don't. And, I comment because I just the way I am. But I don't attack people the same way. If there's a reason, yes, we'll attack. But what can I say? This has been the ugliest thing for the people in this community. We fractured a wonderful relationship to create a show for the black community. Now, the only reason it was wonderful was they didn't have to pay for it. And now, whatever happens, we've lost the opportunity to try to engage the community in this. And people are afraid. A lot of people are ducking for cover. We have very few people of character who will stand up and weather a storm. Like they look for anywhere to hide. And it's because this is uncontrollable. Stop it. We've all got to stop it. We do this, what we do, because we're giving voices to people in the community. When COVID hit and we were into that first quarantine, we tried to broadcast every night. And it was pretty interesting because people needed a sense of community, and it worked. We have other good podcasts, and yes, we've had some differences with another show, but we need each other right now. We need every voice we can get, and we need every outlet we can get. Every place we can listen to people and hear what they have to say, because we are a defeated city. This is a horrible city. And to paraphrase Jeff Daniels from a famous scene in the Newsroom series, when did Americans start scaring this fast? I'm actually very concerned about being in the United States now. Because I'm a Canadian. I'll pick up a ballot and I'll see Communist Party and a lot of unfavorable or unsavory words that people get scared of. And we seem to be a very scared society right now. We have one hell of a country. We've got one hell of a community. And instead of trying to build it together, we have people, you've got your people coming and slinging and showing up and writing stuff. And I fight, I respond because I have to. But this is getting ugly. The words are becoming dangerous. And if this keeps going on, something's going to happen that won't be pleasant for all of us. It'll end up costing money. It'll end up with us causing further damage to our community. So regardless of whether or not this place asks me to leave, and we haven't decided, we haven't understood that yet or gotten an answer on that yet, because unfortunately there may be some legalities. But it doesn't matter. I'm still going to be operating. I'll have a studio. I'll leave here and walk into a working studio. I did it with this place. And you're not going to change me. You're not going to change who I am. I care about people. Okay? I want to see a society. I want to see a society that cares. But I want to challenge people too. I want people to be better. When someone accuses you of hijacking a protest like that, you should stand up, learn from the lesson, accept where people had every right to be upset with you, and then let it go and grow from it. But that capacity has been sadly lacking. And so I'm not defending my company. I'm not going to fight back and engage on things. If the words are dangerous enough, they need to be acted upon. And this is the United States. When did we have a lawyer in this matter saying that pro-Trump people have no voice or no right to a voice? When did half the country lose the protection of the Constitution? This nation is facing a critical situation because one side ostracizes the other. And it isn't one side that's bad. We're both bad. There's no good in this. With Julia Stevens and myself, there's no good in what we're doing. There's no good outcome. I'd hate for your daughter or any of my kids to grow up and embrace what we're doing because it sucks. I don't fall asleep happy. I don't spend my days feeling good about this. I just take it as an element of what happens when you step into a community and you see if you can engage people. People are afraid right now. I don't know when Americans started scaring like this, but I know it's a tough time and we've got lots of adversity. And our ancestors faced adversity. Our parents faced adversity, our grandparents. And so rather than hiding behind whatever excuse, let's just stop this, okay? I didn't do this news thing because I wanted to get you in trouble, Julia. I did this so people would understand that your anger, venom, and rage is just so clear. Everyone's asking me, like, what did you do to her? And I said, absolutely nothing but get mad because she took something from my company. And remember, at that event, my company was one of the organizing groups. If something had gone wrong, I could be held liable for that. I used to work in the insurance field for entertainment. And those events, if they go wrong, people go looking for everyone to find some money, find some recompense. So we don't get upset because somebody said the F word. We get upset because something was not the way our community would condone it. Okay? So can we drop the gloves? And if we can't, I just don't want to engage anymore. It's not fun. I want fun. And I want to see a better community. And given the way people are reacting around here, it's going to be a hard climb. So good luck to everyone, and thank you for watching tonight. If you've got comments, you can make them. I'll try and respond to all of them. And I appreciate you taking the time to understand why this ugliness is happening. Okay? But Julia Stevens, you're not ugly. You're beautiful. You're a person with so many gifts, and you're a wonderful mother. I saw it. And you just are raging about this right now. And I'm your target. And I'm a big boy. So I'm not worried about it. Rage away if you have to. But it's you that looks wrong. Okay? That's all I know. And that's what people are saying. And I don't live my life by what people say. Okay? I live my life by other words. Thank you, everyone. God bless. Glad you tuned in.